Hey guys, it's Exa and welcome back to my channel. If you're new, welcome, and I hope you find this video very useful. And if you're returning, thank you so much for subscribing. I've really been making all these videos because A, it's super fun, and B, I'm hoping that I might inspire some of you or help you out with some of these random tips and tricks that I've discovered over the years. So thank you for watching, and we'll continue on with the video. So if you haven't noticed by where I'm currently positioned, today's video is a little different than what I normally film. I decided I'm going to film a little series called Shoe Talk, or something like that. I haven't really finalized the name yet, but I'm sure there's a lot of you out there that, like me, that don't live in bigger cities where they have access to boutiques to go try on different designer brand shoes to see what sizes fit you. I've had the pleasure of going to a Christian Louboutin boutique once when I was in Toronto for my honeymoon, and I picked up these darlings, but they are actually the only pair of shoes I have bought brand new from an actual boutique or retail store site like that. Everything else I've bought is pretty much bought secondhand. And if you're like me, then you know it's pretty tough to guess what size shoe you're going to need until you get them. And a lot of these places, when you're buying secondhand, you can't return them if they don't fit quite right. So then you're stuck with a pair of shoes that you can't wear. Over this first episode of me sharing my experiences with buying different designer shoes and how they fit and how the branding works, I will be reviewing all of the pointy toe stilettos that you see above me. I've picked out 12 pairs for my collection, ranging across different brands that are all a little bit different and have a huge range in sizes, to hopefully give you guys some insight on about what size you might need in all of these different brands. In US sizing, I'm usually an 8.5 or a 9, and that roughly translates in Italian sizing to somewhere between 39 and 40, depending on the brand. So I've set my baseline sizing as a 39.5, but I do range from 39s through 40s, and I even have some 40.5s, and there's one pair of 41s up there. So hopefully I can give you guys some insight on what size is actually your size in each of these brands and what sizes you can get away with. Because especially when you're buying secondhand, sometimes you find a pair of shoes that you really love for a great price, and they might be a little bit too big or a little bit too small, and you just want to know if you can sneak away with it, which is part of the reason why I have such a wide range in shoes. So we're going to get started with my favorite brand, Christian Louboutin. Alright, so Christian Louboutin is definitely known for his very pointy-toed stilettos such as the Pigalle and the Socates. So first I have here a pair of Socates. These are actually one of their trash prints that they did, and oh my god, first off I just want to say I absolutely adore these shoes. They are one of my favorite pairs. So since Socates do have such a very high heel and they're pretty narrow around the side of the toe box, I need a size 40 in Socates. I've gotten a pair of 39.5s before, and I could put my feet in them, but they were very tight, and after wearing them for an hour, it was so uncomfortable I had to take them off. So one of the shoes that I feel like you really can't get away with sneaking a smaller size is going to be Socates, just because they are so tall and narrow on your foot. And if you have wider feet, I would definitely recommend not getting a Socate, and if you do, go up a half or a full size from what you think you're going to need. We'll move on to the classic Pigalle, I'm not really sure how to pronounce it, heels from Louboutin. Before the Socates came out, these were the staple Christian Louboutin pointed toe heels. Now the Socate has kind of taken over in popularity, but I still love the classics. So this pair I actually rhinestoned myself. They used to be a tan color, and they had a lot of scuffs and scrapes that I couldn't get out, so I turned them pink and glittery, and they're adorable. But anyway, these are 100mm heels in Pigalle, and this pair is actually a 40.5. These do fit me. They don't really fall off of my feet, but they're definitely a little bit bigger than I need. I could totally do a 40 in these and also be completely fine. But like I said earlier, if you're trying to get a pair because they are exactly what you're looking for and happen to be a half size too big, I would say for the most part you're going to be okay. Right, so rounding out my Louboutins, I grabbed a pair of Irizas. So these babies are actually a 39.5. Because of how there's this open side on the Irizas, you can definitely get away with a bit smaller size, and these are going to be a great choice for someone who has a wider foot. Honestly, I think if I had a 40 in them, it might be a little too big and start to pop off of my heel, just because of the way that they're shaped. They don't hug your foot quite as much, so you definitely need to get a little bit smaller size in these. So I'm actually going to include these So-Kate booties as well, just because it's so strange to me that I am definitely a 40 in So-Kate heels, but I am a 39 and a half in So-Kate boots. I've tried on a pair of 40s when I was at the Louboutin boutique of this same shoe. They were a little too big and felt loose and kind of slid around on my foot. I do wear these with a thin little ankle sock, so if you want to wear thicker socks, you can probably go with your same size as a So-Kate. Or if you prefer to go no socks, do those thin little dress socks, then I would say you might want to try a half size down from what your normal So-Kate size is. So next I thought I would compare the Jimmy Choo Anouks to the Manolo BB Pumps. These are another couple pairs that often get compared to So-Kates just because they all have that very tall heel and similar extreme stiletto shape. So my Jimmy Choo Anouk heels are a 39 and a half, which again, as I've said earlier, I feel like is my pretty standard size. I usually aim for a 39 and a half if I'm trying something new that I haven't worn before, and then go from there to see which ones I need a little bigger or a little smaller. So for these, they fit me perfectly in the 39 and a half. I'm pretty sure if I tried to put on a 39, they would be too tight and uncomfortable, but I think if I did a 40, I might just need a little heel liner and I can totally get away with wearing those. So comparing those to my Manolo Blahnik BB Pumps. This is another pair that was once tan and I covered in rhinestones, and I actually painted the bottoms Tiffany blue because I wore them for my wedding. So that is why this pair looks so different than a standard Manolo BB Pump. Fun fact, I bought them for $40, so can't complain. But these guys are a 40. I found in Manolo Blahniks, I definitely need to be at a 40 for pretty much everything. I've also found I need a 40 for ankle boots. The only thing that I've kind of been able to sneak away with 39 and a half is some sandals. Right now we are talking about pointy toe stilettos, and for Manolos, I firmly need a 40, maybe even a 40 and a half if I'm planning on wearing them all day when I know that my feet might swell a little bit. Up next, I will be comparing two pairs of the d'Orsay type stiletto heels that I have. So this pair is Chanel, and then over here we have some Gucci ones. This is actually the only pair of Chanel heels I have, so I may not be the best at guesstimating sizes. These are 40, and they're a little roomy on me, but I think, again, that's just because of this open style. I would definitely go with a 40 were I to get a closed-toed pump, but I might do a 39 and a half if I ever stumbled across another pair of sandals or some other more open Chanel shoes. So moving on to these Gucci ones, I actually have a mix of Gucci shoes being in Italian sizing versus US sizing. This particular pair is actually a 9B. Some other style ones I have are 40s, and those also fit. I would say that the Gucci comparison, depending on if they're in Italian sizing or US sizing, a 9 would be about 40, and that seems to fit pretty well for me.
So for some reason, I seem to have lost the clip of me talking about my Valentino heels. So we're just going to do it this way with some screenshots. But I do have this pair of lovely laser cut Valentino pumps, and they are a 39 and a half. And they fit me really well. So you're probably wondering, why didn't I use a rock stud like these ones shown here? My one pair of rock studs that I have are horribly disrepaired, and I'm not willing to show them in a video yet because they need a lot of help to get back to their former glory. So I do want to touch base on the kind of open slingback style rock stud pumps that are so iconic. For these, I would go with a 39 most likely, just because of the adjustment of the straps. They're going to fit a little smaller than a closed-toed pump.
I actually just got these bright green Balenciaga heels, and this is kind of what prompted me to make this video. They're my first pair of Balenciagas, and I was searching and searching through the internet to figure out how the sizing ran and how they would fit me, and had a really hard time figuring it out. So I actually kind of guessed and bought these anyway, and just hoped and prayed that they fit, or I would be able to stretch them a bit or put in some heel liners and toe liners to make them work, because I just absolutely love them so much. And as it turns out, these do fit me pretty perfectly, and they are a 39. After doing a lot of the research online, I found that Balenciagas tend to run a little bigger than a lot of these other designer brands out there, like Louboutins and Manolos and Jimmy Choos and all of those. So I'm most definitely a 39 in Balenciagas. I actually just got a pair of the knife ankle boots, and they're a 39, so I'm hoping that those will fit too. And I will probably do another video of me comparing different ankle boots and designer brands so you guys can get some more insight on how they fit. Hopefully they work out as well. So next up for comparison are some Louis Vuitton heels. These are vintage, and I do not actually remember what the name of them is. I will have to assess my spreadsheet later. If you didn't already know I was crazy, I have a spreadsheet cataloging every pair of shoes, where they live in my closet, how much they've retailed for, how much I paid for them, any work that's been done at the cobbler, what color, heel height, style. Oh yeah, I'm a bit crazy when it comes to Excel spreadsheets. Anyway, back to the shoes. So these are Louis Vuitton. They're a little bit shorter heels, and they have this cool like cutout detail on the sides. They're like sort of Dorsey style, but not quite. These guys are 40, and they also fit me really well. I found in Louis Vuittons I definitely need a 40 or even a 40 and a half, depending on the shoes. So Louis Vuittons do go with a bit bigger sizing. I would say that their sizing is pretty comparable to So-Kate's. So if you know what your So-Kate size is, I would recommend going with that for anything Louis Vuitton. These are Michael Kors collection. This is actually the first pair of designer heels that I bought and kind of prompted my whole massive collection. I literally got my first job in a shoe store at 14, so they've kind of always been a part of me. But this pair is what got me into the world of designer. And when I discovered Poshmark and that I could buy them for really cheap and then fix them up, it was game over. I now spend every spare dollar I have buying designer shoes. Back to these. These guys are also a 39 and a half, which if you look at the Michael Kors website and do their size guide comparison, they do consider a 9 as a 39 and a half for their brand. These guys are very near and dear to my heart as the first pair I ever got. So this last pair I'm going to talk about is actually a much less popular designer Italian shoes, and these are Paul Andrews. I recently discovered this brand and I just love them so much because they have such fun colors and shapes and styles in all their shoes. If you haven't heard of Paul Andrews, go check them out because I'm sure you will love them too if you're into fun, funky, unique heels. Hello, Squeak. Have you come to assist me? Hi. Yeah, I know, Squeak. You love shoes too, don't you? Yeah. So these Paul Andrews are actually a 41, which this is the biggest pair of heels that I think I own in the whole closet pretty much. And they're definitely a little big for me, but I can totally wear them around and don't feel like I'm going to trip and fall out of these shoes at all. So I would say I'm probably a 40 and a half in Paul Andrews, honestly. I think just the way that they fit, I would feel more comfortable going with a 40 and a half in the future than going with a 40. But again, these guys are actually a 41 and they're a little too big for me, but I just loved them and they were a great deal, so they came home with me anyway, and I will find a way to make them work. Well guys, I hope me babbling about different shoe sizes that I have was helpful to you, and if you have any questions, feel free to comment below. Or if you have any other shoe videos that you would like me to film, you can go ahead and comment those too, or send me a message on Instagram. So until next time, Squeaky and I hope your day is as beautiful as yours.